You ever been in a place where you didn't know what to pray? Where the weight on your chest was so heavy that words felt like a luxury, when all you could do was sit in silence or maybe just cry? If you've ever been there, or if you're there right now, this is for you. Because sometimes the prayer you need isn't eloquent, it isn't neat, it isn't something you'd post on Instagram. Sometimes the prayer you need is raw, desperate. It's not a paragraph, it's a breath, it's a whisper. Sometimes the prayer you need is, God, help. And you need to know that's enough. There's power in that. There's truth in that. And God hears that. You don't need to know all the answers to talk to the one who holds them. You don't need to have faith that moves mountains to reach the God who made them. All you need is the courage to say something, anything. You may think you're too broken to pray. You may think your doubt disqualifies you. But what if your doubt is the very thing that brings you closer to Him? What if the prayer you need isn't polished but personal? Because God's not looking for perfect people. He's listening for honest hearts. The prayer you need right now might be hidden under your frustration. It might be buried beneath your fear, but it's there. That groan you let out while driving home, that sigh before bed, that tear you tried to wipe away before anyone saw. Heaven heard that. The enemy wants to keep you quiet. He wants you to think you can only pray when you feel holy, when you feel strong, when your life is in order. But God is not waiting on your performance. He's responding to your presence. So maybe the prayer you need isn't long. Maybe it's not deep. Maybe it's not even said out loud, but it's real. It's yours. And it's enough. You know what's wild? We spend so much time trying to sound right when we talk to God. Like there's some spiritual script we're supposed to follow. Like prayer is a performance and God is the judge holding up scorecards. But God doesn't need your poetry. He wants your honesty. He's not leaning in because you found the perfect words. He's leaning in because you showed up real. Some of us were taught that to pray right, we've got to sound holy, like King James holy. Thou art worthy, O Lord. But inside we're hurting, we're angry, we're confused, and we're out here pretending we're fine because we think that's what gets God's attention. Let me tell you, He's not impressed by your polished prayers. He's moved by your broken ones. The ones where your voice cracks mid-sentence. The ones where you say the wrong thing, but you meant it from the bottom of your soul. The ones where you don't even finish because the emotions hit too hard. That's the kind of stuff that makes heaven move. You think God can't handle your real? He formed you in the womb. He knows your thoughts before you even speak them. So why are you filtering your prayers like you're afraid of being too much for the one who made you? You're not too much. You're never too much. In fact, when you get honest, really honest, that's when the healing starts. That's when things shift. It's not the words that reach God. It's the weight behind them, the honesty behind them. When you stop talking at Him and start talking to Him like a father, like a friend, like the only one who truly sees everything you're carrying and doesn't walk away. You don't have to impress Him. He already loves you. You don't have to edit your emotions. He already knows them. You don't have to rehearse your prayer. Just release it. Let it out messy and unfiltered, because it's not about sounding right. It's about being real. There are moments in life where words just fail. You sit there staring at the wall or the ceiling or the floor, anywhere but at the thing that's breaking your heart. You open your mouth to pray, but nothing comes out. Just silence, just heaviness, just that ache in your chest that won't let you breathe right. And in those moments, you start to wonder, is this enough? Is God even hearing me right now? But let me tell you something real. He hears it all. The silence, He hears it. The tear sliding down your cheek that you didn't even have the strength to wipe away, He sees that. The sigh that came out of your soul like it had been trapped there for years, yeah, He felt that, because God doesn't just hear your words, He hears your heart. Sometimes the loudest prayers aren't shouted, they're surrendered. They sound like silence, but they carry the weight of everything you're too tired to say out loud. And God's not confused by your quiet. He doesn't need subtitles to know what your soul is screaming. When you sit in the stillness, when you feel numb, when the grief is too deep to form a sentence, that's still prayer. That is prayer. Heaven isn't waiting on you to articulate your pain like a sermon. Heaven is already leaning in, already responding, already present. See, we think prayer is only powerful when it's vocal, but some of the most intimate moments with God happen in the wordless spaces, in the in-between, when all you've got is a broken presence. And that's exactly what he wants, because God can do more with your silence than you can do with 1,000 perfect words. So don't let the enemy lie to you and tell you that your silence means you've stopped praying, that your tears don't count, that your sighs are empty. They're not. They're sacred. They're the language of a weary soul reaching out to a faithful God, and he understands them perfectly. We've turned prayer into something it was never meant to be, a show, a performance. A stage where we think we've got to have the right posture, the right words, the right mood, the right moment. We wait until we feel ready, until the setting is just right, like we're auditioning for approval. But God never asked you to be impressive. He asked you to be present. Prayer isn't about crossing off some spiritual checklist. It's not about sounding spiritual or looking put together. It's not about grammar or theology or flow. It's about being with God. That's it. It's about showing up, flawed, messy, tired, uncertain, and saying, God, I'm here. Even if that's all you've got, it's enough. You don't have to climb some spiritual ladder to be heard. You don't have to wait until your faith feels strong or your life feels fixed. God doesn't require a polished version of you. He desires the present you, the now you, the real you. You know how powerful presence is? Think about someone you love sitting with you when you're in pain. They don't even have to say anything. They're just there. And it changes everything. That's how God is with us, but also that's what he wants from us. He's not waiting on you to deliver a perfect monologue. He's just waiting on you to come sit with him. So if all you can do today is show up, if all you can muster is one whispered God, that's enough. The power isn't in your performance. It's in your proximity. The strength isn't in the structure of your words. It's in the surrender of your heart. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not to pray the perfect prayer, but to show up in the middle of your doubt, your chaos, your mess, and just say, God, I don't even know what to say, but I'm here. That kind of presence, it breaks chains. It moves heaven. We've been told that faith has to be flawless, that to come to God, we need to have it all figured out, all lined up, all clean and confident. But let's get real. Life doesn't work like that. Some days you believe with fire in your chest, and other days you barely believe at all. And here's the truth that religion might not have told you. Doubt doesn't disqualify you. God is not intimidated by your questions. He's not put off by your uncertainty. You don't scare him when you say, I don't understand why this is happening, or where are you right now? That's not weakness, that's honesty. That's what a real relationship looks like. If you look through scripture, you won't find perfect people. You'll find wrestlers. You'll find prophets who ran, disciples who denied, leaders who questioned, and kings who doubted. You'll find people just like you, people who weren't sure, people who messed up, people who cried out in frustration. And you'll see a God who stayed, a God who showed up, a God who didn't wait for them to get their act together before he met them in their mess. You don't have to hide your doubt to be accepted. You don't have to mask your fear to be loved. God is not fragile. He's not going to walk away just because you're wrestling with what you believe. In fact, the wrestling might be the very proof that you do believe. That deep down, there's a part of you still reaching, even if it's shaky, even if it's tired, even if it's angry. Yes, even your anger, even your frustration, that counts too. God would rather have your honest anger than fake praise. He'd rather you scream at him than go silent without him, because that means you're still engaged. You're still reaching out. You're still in it. So if you're in a season of doubt, don't run from God. Bring it to him. All of it, the questions, the tension, the silence, the shouting. It's not a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're human. And the beautiful thing is God already knows, and he still chooses you every time. We think powerful prayers have to be long, deep, and drenched in scripture. Like if we can just string together the right combination of holy sounding words, God will be more likely to answer. But what if the most powerful prayer you could ever pray is also the simplest? God, help. Just that, 2 words, a breath, a lifeline. Because when you say, God, help, you're doing more than asking, you're surrendering. You're admitting you've hit the end of your strength. You're confessing that you don't have the answers. You're recognizing that you can't fix it, can't carry it, can't take one more step on your own. And that is where the power begins, not in your ability, but in your release. God, help carries more weight than 100 carefully scripted lines. It's not pretty, but it's potent. It's not polished, but it's real. And God responds to real. He leans into desperation. He moves in honesty. You might feel like you need to get yourself together before you come to God, like you need to clean yourself up before you cry out. But the truth is, the most beautiful prayers are the ones that come straight from the middle of the mess. The ones whispered through tears, the ones cried out in confusion, the ones that don't have answers, just longing. Think about Peter sinking in the storm. He didn't have time for a poetic plea. He didn't say, dear gracious Heavenly Father, I come to thee in great peril. No, he said, Lord, save me, and that was enough. Jesus reached out and grabbed him immediately, no hesitation, no delay. Why? Because sincerity speaks louder than eloquence. So don't underestimate the power of your shortest prayers. When your heart is heavy and your words are few, when all you can get out is God, help, that's not a weak prayer, that's a war cry. That's faith in its rawest, most honest form. And that kind of prayer, it shakes heaven. The enemy knows something that many of us forget. Your voice has power. Not just your singing voice, not your preaching voice, not your put together on Sunday morning voice, your real voice. The one that's been through battles, the one that cracks when you're tired. The one that doesn't always know what to say, but still chooses to speak. That voice, it's dangerous to the darkness. That's why the enemy works overtime to keep you quiet. He wants you to believe that your prayers don't matter, that your voice is too broken, that your doubt disqualifies you, that your silence is safer. He'll whisper lies like, you don't pray like them, or God's not listening to you anyway, because he knows if you ever start speaking again, if you ever lift your voice in faith, in frustration, in desperation, you're breaking chains. See, the enemy thrives in silence, in shame, in isolation. He wants to convince you that it's better to keep it in, to push it down, to stay silent and struggle alone. Because as long as you're quiet, you're easy to contain. But the moment, even in weakness, even in a whisper, you say, God, I need you, you've just declared war. Because prayer isn't just communication, it's confrontation. It's stepping into the ring and saying, I may be weak, but I'm not giving up. I may be confused, but I'm still coming. I may be broken, but I still believe. And every time you open your mouth in faith, you're pushing back the darkness that's been trying to drown you. You don't have to be loud to be heard. You don't have to be strong to be effective. You just have to speak, even if your voice shakes, even if it's just one word. Because when you pray, even from a place of pain, you're not just surviving, you're fighting. You're resisting the lie that says you're alone. You're defying the voice that says you're done. So go ahead, speak, whisper if you have to, cry out if you need to, but don't let the enemy have your silence, because your voice was made for more. And every time you use it, you're stepping into the authority you've had all along. There's a lie we've all been tempted to believe, that when we're at our lowest, God is farthest. That when we're falling apart, when we're lost in anxiety, drowning in grief, suffocating in questions, somehow He's stepped back, that He's waiting for us to get it together before He'll come close. But that's not the truth. That's not who He is. God is not distant from your desperation. In fact, He draws closer in it. He's not scared of your chaos. He's not ashamed of your brokenness. He's not avoiding the mess you're in. He's stepping into it. Right there in the middle of the thing you didn't think anyone could understand. Right there when you feel like you're unraveling. That's when His presence shows up stronger than ever. Because God doesn't just love the put-together version of you. He loves the barely holding on version, the crying in the dark version, the I don't know how I'm going to make it version. He's not drawn to your strength. He's drawn to your surrender. And when everything in you feels undone, unworthy, unseen, that's when He leans in the closest. He doesn't wait for the pain to pass before He comes near. He gets in it with you. He sits with you in the hospital room. He stands beside you in the courtroom. He lays next to you in the bed where sleep won't come. He's not pacing in heaven hoping you figure it out. He's holding you steady even when you're too tired to hold yourself up. See, God has a track record of meeting people in their most desperate places, in caves, in pits, in prison cells, on battlefields, in the belly of whales, and in every story, it wasn't the end. It was the setup, the turning point, the sacred space where God proved, I am Emmanuel, God with you. So when you feel most undone, don't assume He's distant. That ache in your soul, He hears it. That trembling in your hands, He sees it. That feeling that you're falling apart, it's okay. Because sometimes God lets the pieces fall so He can build something stronger from the ground up. And He'll do it with you, not from a distance, but from right beside you. Absolutely. Here's a powerful, emotionally resonant ending that ties everything together with depth and authenticity in the same passionate, faith-filled tone as the rest of the message. So if you're waiting to feel worthy, to feel strong, to feel ready before you pray, stop waiting. Just come, just speak, or sigh, or sit in silence. Just show up. Because the prayer you need right now isn't about sounding right. It's about being real. It's not about proving your faith. It's about placing it, even if it's trembling. God isn't looking for perfection. He's waiting for permission. Permission to step into your pain. Permission to walk through your questions. Permission to be your strength when yours runs out. The prayer you need right now might be raw. It might be short. It might be silent. But if it's real, if it's honest, it's enough. And God will meet you right there.